The science and the geometry behind painting with one eye is something that I had to grow into. Over the years, I had to develop and readjust the way I looked and saw and calculated things in my mind, and I had to really. It took many years for me to be able to understand the science and the different levels and different phases that I had to go to readjust and relearn how to look at the world. So in this episode, I wanted to kind of break down what it's like for me as a one-eye artist to describe to you what was it like losing my right eye to gun violence, and how I had to go to different levels and different stages of life to readjust and learn how to either see or function in the world with one eye. And one of the things that I could understand as I continue to live my life, learning and trying to accept my reality, was I began to understand that there was many levels that I had lost on my right side of my physical being. A lot of things, and it's kind of hard to kind of break down to someone that can see with two eyes. But if you ever I always tell people when they ask me what does it feel like to see the world with one eye, I tell them always just cover your right eye, cover up one of your right eye or right or left eye with your hand, and that is how I see the world. But one of the things that I learned in the science and the geometry of me having one eye, I realized that my right ear had became my vision for me. Even though I may not be able to see on my right side, my ear has become somewhat a tool that I use, even though I can't see visually, but my ear helped me feel. It helped me sense movement or motion or vibration on my right side. And that's something that I come to learn as I continue to live with one eye. And so I'm going to tie this story into how I began to create art and how I began to realize different stages of my drawing and how my art and my paintings changed over the years, and how I learned to adjust to grasping the reality of painting and drawing and sketching and seeing objects with one eye. In this painting that you will see me demonstrating, in the beginning you will see that one of the things that I had to begin this painting was I'm painting these vegetables. So the first thing I had to do, I had to set it up. I had to be able to look at the different shades, the different shapes, how the coloring of the different vegetables look, and how they look, how the things that I need to capture in my canvas once I start applying the pencil sketch to the canvas. Now, as you can see, now always keep in mind that one thing that I learned for having one eye is a lot of times, because I was at a doctor's office one day, and I asked the doctor, how has my vision changed since I've lost my right eye? And he told me, he said, most of the things that I will see in life, they will be either flat, or they're seen far off, or very close up. And a lot of times he was saying that people with two eyes see 3D. So he was saying, in so many words, he was saying that a lot of objects that I see, I will see them in 2D. So in saying that, one thing I had to learn was I had to learn how to draw and paint in 3D, even though I can only see in 2D. So in saying that, the science and the geometry is when I'm drawing and sketching and painting, right? My mind and my hand and my arm is calculating and adding and subtracting as I create to bring 3D to my subjects or to my art pieces that I create. And doing it and doing the science of that is the shading, the dark to light, the light to darks. All that plays a part in the bigger objects compared to the smaller objects, or things like that, or like putting an object in front of another object. See, that is the levels that I had to learn far as creating art when I want to create from 3D. And to create 2D is sort of like it's just a flat object. So in saying all that, there was some of the things and some of the science and geometry that I had to learn, not just far as a painting from a painter's point of view or artist's point of view. It's even in real life as I go out into the world and I see things and I look at things, and sometimes I could reach out for something, and the first time I reach out for it, it may be farther than I reached. So sometimes I may have to take two reaches or 3 reaches to grab it or something like that, and that's just to go to show you how, my eye is functioning on a one level, on a 2D level, than compared to someone with 2 eyes that's functioning on 3D. So let's jump right into creating this painting. So when I decided to take years ago, when I realized losing my right eye, I realized that what can I do now? Because when I lost my right eye, I wasn't really creating art. Before I ever for those who don't know, I had got shot when I was 21 in the head, losing my right eye. In the process of losing my right eye, I wasn't really drawing or painting on any of that type of art at the time. I was in the street life, selling drugs, running the streets. But there was moments in my time period where I would go out and but spray paint on walls, graffiti. I would do a lot of graffiti on the walls. So that was sort of like my way to ventilate or express myself in the street life. And like I said, a lot of times, the only time I really got into painting or drawing or any type of creativity was when I was incarcerated. Because once I was incarcerated, that helped me create and it helped me draw things that it just helped me escape from my reality. So in saying that, years later, maybe age 22, 23, I really got into really studying the science of art. I really got into studying the geometry of art, and I always knew I had this gift. But like I said, me losing my right eye was like a very big obstacle in my life, is where I knew that it's certain things, like, because I would see other artists, right? And I would see how they create art, and I compare my art to their art, and I felt as though my art wasn't good enough for me to keep creating. And to this day, this guy it was a Muslim brother named Suleiman. He was a very knowledgeable brother from Chicago. May he rest in peace. May Allah be pleased with him. He was the one encouraged me to continue to create. He was the one that gave me wisdom and knowledge to encourage me to keep using my gift. Because he asked me one day, why you don't like drawing? And I always tell people this story, that I said, because when I look at other people's art, it intimidates me. And so he told me, he said you can't base your talent or your skills or your creativity to someone else's creativity, because your experience of life is different from their experience in life. When, in so many words, what he was telling me was that if you create art, see, your art gonna hit different because you're painting with one eye, and other people in the story behind your art is more impactful than someone who has two eyes. So in saying all that, that gave me that carved a new path for me to be able to want to create, to be able to express myself in my paintings. So as you can see in this painting that I'm creating, this canvas, I wanted to really like first get the different perceptions, the different the shapes. I really wanted to get the angles. I wanted to get all the foundation down right first in doing this painting. And by the way, this painting here that I'm creating, because like being an artist, I want to say this to other people who are creators. See, when you are artists that have different traits of creating, see, your way of creating is beyond different from one person who has one style of art. See, when you have one style of art, you can only focus on one style. But an artist like me, I create in different levels and different. I have different departments of level skills. Meaning, what I'm saying is, I can paint, I can draw, I can create books, I use art in different levels as far as the camera. I use art for as creating comic book characters, and I can graphic design. So I have different areas that I may stray away from other areas of my art departments. In saying that, I haven't painted in over 7 years. And so today, in creating this piece, I wanted to get back into painting on canvases, because it's a difference between painting on canvases and painting with a digital pen and creating in the digital world. See, we're living in a digital world where I learned that from being in college. I learned how to paint in the digital world, but it's nothing like creating the traditional way with paint and brushes and canvases. So I made it my duty and my goal to start this journey of painting with oils again. I like the style of oils. I like the feel of it, the oils. I like how it paints on the canvas. I painted with a lot of, I painted with acrylics a couple of times, gouache, color pencils. I did a lot of different ways of coloring on canvas and painting on canvases. But one of the things that the oil painting does for me, it just helps me be able to move the paint more smoother on the canvas, and it helps me be able to, and plus it's hard, it takes a while to dry. So in that time of taking a while to dry, you can continue to manipulate it and move it around and help it in different ways. But oil is my favorite medium that I like when it comes to painting on canvases. It's just a better touch for me. And so in saying all that, I wanted to kind of like break it down to you all what it's really like to painting with one eye. And one of the things that I realized in this new generation of artists, a lot of them like to trace on canvas with some type of machine that where they can outline the images on canvas, and then they come in and paint. As for me, I'm one of those old school painters, old school artists. I feel as though tracing or copying images, I feel as though that's going against the code for as me as an artist, But I like I said, on social media, I see a lot of artists who trace on canvas, who use different devices to trace the images on canvas, and then they come in and paint it, and they consider it a real painting. And and to each is his own. As for me, I'm one of those artists where I like to look at the object and I sketch it. I like to paint it looking at the objects, and because that I feel as though that is a genuine painting from an artist, that once you sketch it from your own perception, your own mind, that and from the way your vision sees the object, I feel as though that is more of a foundation of a real true painting. So to be honest, me being at the art lab, this is somewhere I come to create art. This is a place where I come to create. I draw and paint. It's a lot of artists that come. We love to create. We love to network and grow and just really learning to take each other ideas and break. And a lot of times we have a lot of art discussions about different famous artists, the ways they painted, the way they did things as an artist, and a lot of the stories that I learned from different artists, and a lot of the ideas and concepts that they have. It's like I take those conversations and I like store them in one of my departments in my mind. Like I have like an art department in my brain, as where like these different conversations, different ideas, I use those ideas and concepts and conversations and the knowledge that they give to me. Sometimes I go back and revisit those conversations, and I take those conversations and I tie it into my art. And that is something that I love about being around amazing artists, being around old, young, middle-aged artists, because all of them have different walks of art experiences. So when I'm talking to them and learning how to use the brush, how to paint on the canvas, how to, like, don't try to make the painting perfect, but try to make the brushes do the coloring, because I'm one of those type of artists that I want to make it real as possible. And a lot of times what some of the artists has been teaching me as I create in this journey that I'm on is that you don't have to use the brush to try to get every detail. You can use the paint for the shading or for the darkness, and I can somewhat understand what they're saying, but it's always me trying to revert back to realism. And like I said, the more I paint in this subject and continue to create on this, it's like a beautiful picture is coming out, And some of the things that I've learned over the time is when I'm painting now, because like I told you, I haven't painted in like maybe 5 to 7 years. I haven't really painted, and a lot of it had to do with COVID. When COVID hit New York, it was a devastating moment, very depressing moment in our times. And for some reason, I just didn't paint. And I got away from the traditional paintings and I went to digital art. So now I'm back. So me being back in the traditional world of painting, using oil paintings, oils and things like that, me learning all over again how to mix colors and paints to try to get a different color, a cooler or warmer color, it's amazing how you can lose your knowledge if you don't practice it every day. And that's something that I learned in that 5 to 7 year period that I didn't paint, was a lot of the knowledge that I had on mixing colors and mixing paints. It was like I lost some of that information. So me coming back into the world of traditional painting, I began to study the different levels of mixing paints, from the cool to the warm, from the warm to the cools, or from the just the primary colors, how the primary colors can make a different color, how the colors can hit the canvas, and it's just amazing how it's a very scientific and geometry way of using the art world and using the paints and the colors and the brushes and the canvas to speak to the world. What I've learned since I've been back into the traditional world of painting, using my left eye to create, I realized that how important, I always express to people how important it is for me to protect my left eye, because my left eye is worth more than $1 billion, and a lot of times I used to I ain't gonna say I took it for granted, but when I was a younger kid, when I first lost my right eye, I didn't really, it was hard to grasp the reality. I tried to cover it by escaping, reality. Sometimes I even use painting and drawing and creating to kind of not think about that I have one eye, but the more I lived and the more I began to create, the more I began to understand the reality of my life. That's when I began to accept my reality. And I'm gonna tell you another thing that helped me as well in my journey as an artist with one eye. I was in a rehab years ago. I think it was like 2000 and maybe 2003 or 4, probably 2002. I was in this rehab, and it was this guy I was there with. He was a one-eye artist. We was in Arkansas, Little Rock, but he was from Memphis as well. And long story short, I used to send one in Memphis when I used to be incarcerated in jail. This was before I lost my right eye. He was known in the prison system, in the jail system, as an artist who sketched and drew on postcards, and he drew for money in jail for commissary, for like cookies and cakes and things like that. But he was a one-eye artist, and he wore a patch over his eye, and he painted and he drew. And by me being an artist, at the time I don't think I was drawing then, but I admired him because he was drawing and painting with one eye, and he was very good in it. So, like I said, that was years before I met him in the rehab. And when we met in the rehab, at this stage of my life, I was much older, and I had a real drug problem at the time. And he was in there, and he had the same drug problem that I had. And I began to build a relationship with him. I began to come around him, and I asked him to teach me different techniques, show me how to draw eyes, show me how to draw hands and things like that. And he would sit there and draw and educate me on different ways to draw and create. So in saying that, I believe the Most High, Allah, put him in my presence to kind of, I guess, kind of give me encouragement, or some type of give me some type of motivation to want to take my gift and take it to higher levels. So in saying that, he was one of the type of persons that was in my life to give me some type of foundation to kind of turn me to that direction of wanting to pursue my dream as an artist. I never seen the guy no more because, like I said, we was in Little Rock, Arkansas, and when I left Arkansas, I never went back to Arkansas. But when I look back on it, I think he was the only person that I ever seen at the time that created one eye, and that was, and like I said, I believe, in my belief as a Muslim, I believe everything is designed in my life that happened to me, or that come about in my life is a journey for me, and it's a sign, it's a message and everything. And at that time, I truly believe at that moment in my life, I knew that meeting him in that rehab, I knew that he was a person that was meant for me to see in my lifetime, to help me understand that this is what I supposed to be doing. And from that moment, I never stopped drawing. That's when I began to educate myself. Long before I ever went to college for art, long before I ever really thought about being an artist, I took my art serious. I began to take my art serious by like the street artists, or I kept an art pad with me, kept pencils with me, and people began to call me an artist. You know, they began to know me as an artist instead of me being this street dude who sold drugs or things like that. People began to know me as an artist that painted and created. Because long before I ever did any type of art, I knew I wanted to master creating faces. I needed to learn, because I felt as though if you can sketch a person features, a real person, real life, if you can sketch them in real life and they look just like them, if you can get their figures, their face features and things like that, their nose, their eyes, you know, all of their lips, their ears, and the way they are, if you can sketch that, you can draw anything. So that's what, in my early years of creating, that was something that I focused on. I focused on painting and drawing the features, the figures of a person, their face. And then I began to learn, as I continued to educate myself, the art where it says the hands and the feet are the hardest things to sketch or paint. So once I began to sketch and paint feet and hands, and you have to understand this as well. When I'm creating and when I'm using my eyes to create, that's like an exercise for my eyes. That's like, you know, like a person do push-ups. When you're sketching and creating and using your eyes to do different drawing and sketching different scenes, that's like exercise for my eye. And one of the things that I realized in sketching and drawing and being creative is that the more I use my eyes like that, the better my concept, the better my perception of the figures or the objects that I'm creating become more realistic than I ever done before I ever, you know, because you got to keep doing it each day. You can't, it's something that I learned as an artist, you can't let up. I mean, like I always tell people, it was one time period in my life that I was creating art and I stopped for like 9 months. And that in that 9-month period, it ate me up because I seen other artists being creative in the world. And I knew that I supposed to be creating, I supposed to be using my gift, and I wasn't. So that's one of the things I think an artist really fears, that if they're very productive in creating art and they go on a drought of not creating at all, that's devastating for any artist that loves to create. So that's why I use my skills and my knowledge of creation. And every day I wake up, I know that I must create. I know that I must use my skills to sketch, paint, create, to help not just my skills, but it's a mental and an emotional drive for me as well, you know. So, and to just break down this episode of me creating this art, I just wanted to like really break it down to y'all, the science and the geometry of what it's like for an artist to paint with one eye, and what it was like to learn to accept the fact that I have one eye, and how to learn to live with one eye after having two eyes, you know. And like I said, it was a very emotional journey, a very hurtful journey, a very dark moment of creating and learning to create with one eye. But one thing that I must tell you all, as you are looking at this painting, looking at me, and feel my emotions as I speak about having one eye, this is something that over time it had to heal, and using my art was a big tool to help me heal from having one eye, you know. But the beauty about all of this though is when I see my art and when I see the reaction of how people react to my art and the way they give me feedback of how amazing my art is, them moments there help me understand that me having one eye to create is powerful. And I know it's powerful because I see people with two eyes and a lot of people can't create. So when I create, when I produce amazing art and tell you the story behind this amazing art, it helps me understand that it's okay. Life is going to be all right and life is good. And through my art, I share with you all my most amazing stories, my most amazing experience of life. You know, the good, the bad, the happiness, the joy, the love, the inspiration. You know, I have so many stories that's bundled up with this art. It's like going into a big old storage room, and I got so many departments of different subject matters that I wanted to paint, to create, and tell you these amazing stories. So as y'all continue to stay on this journey with me, the One Eye Television production, I want y'all to understand that my art is taking you all to a journey that's phenomenal. And once you all understand the different levels of how I create, y'all gonna love what's coming up next. So stay tuned to the next episode. Y'all take care.
If that you're doing this, yeah, no, yes.
I mean, it works.
Do you want it over more? Do you want
No, that's far as it can go. I mean,
No, I can go a little farther.
but it's
Like I can go like that. But what, it feels weird?
yeah,
You
but
feel
I
far
wanna
away
feel
now
weird.
here.
Yeah, I'm far away.
Now
like
you
that.
feel far. But you know what? You're in the right, you need to step back from your work. You don't want to be on top of it.
All right,
Because
cool.
people don't look at work like that. They stand back and
Yeah.
they see it up on the wall,
Yeah, you're
right? Now, you can lean forward if you've got to do a little, detailed thing. But for looking at it, you don't want to be on top of it. Because this relates to this, you don't want to be just focused on one. They all go together. They all go together. So, and then what I was going to show you with that, so when I am doing the background, like so, I decide on one color. I decide, oh, okay, so say I take the middle one and I block it in. Okay, so I'm blocking it in, keeping it real loose, going all around. But I see there's some dark too, so I'm going all around. I'm keeping it thin in the beginning, and then I know right away, I'm going to get it in right away because darks are very important. I know there's going to be a dark here. There's a little dark here.
Dark, sort of like right in there too, right?
Yeah, I'm going to get that dark reading right away. Maybe there's a little dark here. So there's the lighter. And then, well, this is on paper, so it's not really.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
But I'm getting a different color in too. That's looking like. So I'm going, don't want to mess up the paper too much because the paper's absorbing, but I'm going to want to get that light happening. So I'm just playing around. It's not, I know that there's a light bit. There's a light bit. Generally a light bit. And there's generally happening. So you've got this already a feeling of light and dark. And then the material, it turns away from the light sometimes, and you've got these little stripes happening. So somewhere you're going to have this going on. You know, there's this horizontal thing going on. I don't know how you're going to do that. We got to figure that out. But you know, there's a lot of texture there.
Yeah,
You're very flat. It's like you don't want to start flat. You want to start playful. You can get as tight and careful as you want later on, but I want you to start with different colors.
So, okay, you want
Sort of different colors happening. You see, it's just be a little more lively, but you see how lively the color is there. So it's again about texture. You've made it look like it's not material because it could be a cement wall. You just have it flat, flat, flat because there's no play. There's no light. There's no real light like twinkle light, like twinkly. It's like twinkly light. Like that. I don't know. Is it an orange? Yeah, it's an orange. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying, oh, maybe the orange is gonna a little orange in it and a little white. We'll get that twinkle happening, you know? Like you try it out. Try it out. But there is a twinkle happening.
okay.
It's pinker than this. I have the wrong color. So then I go back and it's changing. You know, sometimes it's wrong. I think it's more pinky, less orange, more of a pink. But you got to put it somewhere to get it to read against. These are all related to each other.
What you're doing is like smearing it in different spaces.
Well, this material just is not flat.
Yeah, I know. So what I'm saying, what I just saw you do is like you smear a little color here, smear a little.
So you see how it now doesn't look flat.
It looked better than mine.
No, well, it's not better.
It looked more
It's like,
paintish. I understand.
well, it's
See, this do
painterly, but it's also got more.
motion in it. It got
Yeah,
motion.
but it's got the different colors happening
Yeah.
right away. Because if you just think one color all the time, you got to think them sort of at the same time. That's why I had you mix all these colors because I want you painting them kind of. Oh, let's see. There's an area here that's very light. Why don't I just sort of try get
That's
that?
what I was trying to do. I was trying.
Right, I see,
You don't see it a little lighter?
but it's too subtle,
Too solid?
too close. The eye isn't seeing. Then you just did the whole area of that. I want to see it go back and forth a little bit, like get the different. You see how there's a horizontal thing happening there. So it looks like you put the color all the way from here down to there,
No,
did you?
you
Okay, so your brush has to go this way,
Yeah.
you know, because the brush is gonna help you.
So what I've been trying to do is fill in that canvas, that roughness.
You filled everything in now. Now you've got the hard bed of getting the texture of the skin of the onion, the texture of so it's the same thing when you come to the onion, your strokes should be going around the onion, just like those veins are.
So something
Yes,
like
oh look, it looks better already. There you go.
All right, cool.
All right.
All right, I'm gonna
See?
try it like this.
All right, there you go. You're off.
Good
And it's
demonstration.
much better than mine.
Good demonstration.
Just close. Any questions? We'll just roll. Some point there's a line here, right, the edge of the table. Do you see it? Do you see it? That's gonna be, sort of part of it. Because the value, the shading of the green is gonna be different probably than what, because at some point you're gonna wanna shade that green, right? It's a solid, it's not white, right? Yeah, because at some point you're gonna wanna start shading. Oh, does anybody need the air on? Is it,
I'm good.
you're good, you're good with
I'm
it? You don't have that window here. You want it on?
I'm fine,
You're
but
fine?
I think the weather today just looks like.
It's supposed to, yeah, but they said it might get a little windy.
Is it supposed to rain?
I rode my bike.
I think tomorrow.
I'm teasing, I rode my bike because they just keep on saying it's gonna rain and we need it so badly. So I thought if I rode my bike, it might rain.
Good thing, it's like rain.
Way off base.
So,
But what I want you to,
so that color there is it?
that's the closest. But what do you need to get this closer?
With yellow?
But not this yellow, that's lemon yellow. You want that.
What, this?
Yeah, because it's too cold.
Orange?
That is cold, that's, there, this is a very, I know this is light, but you see, that it's about,
Right here?
no, you took too much.
Alright.
Gotta do little bits. I wanna show you a little bit. So, it's too, you got a lot of dark on this, getting the dark off. So what I always do you have another
Paper towel.
piece of paper towel? Sometimes you just want this here. You can just quickly, just clean it. You want something that's this.
Yeah, they do look
See
like
that?
Yeah, they do. But how would I would have known to
Because
use
that's
that?
warm and this is cold. It's a bright, it's like a green that would be, oh, I don't know, kind of a,
But I would have had to known how to use that orange. Well, maybe.
well,
orange.
it's dulling it. You see how bright that is? I
Yeah.
want to dull it
Yeah.
with a dark color, actually. And then this, then once you get that color,
Mhm.
then you can bring in this. You know, it's sort of like cooking. It's ingredients. It's cooking. You know, when do you add the salt and pepper?
Mm.
You know, first you got to get the base. Then with this lemon, you can get the highlights, mixing it with the base. See, the lighter,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
this is the base. So I want you to add this to this and start getting the right green, all right?
Cool, cool.
But this is like too foresty. And
But I can use it for something
that's a
else, right?
that's a cold one, you know, Christmas
Yeah.
forest. This is hot summer. Yeah, and you need a lot of heat. See, this is getting
Yeah,
towards the
yeah.
heat. And then you get into the orange, you know where it gets orangey? You know, that's where you're gonna pull in the orange, right? And then the next I would have pulled in a little orange to get that little orangey look, right?
Yeah,
Okay, you see that?
yeah, yeah.
See it's getting closer?
Yeah, I see.
So that's why you want this near that, so you're like comparing. And actually, you already got those colors before,
Hmm.
right? Maybe bring it in, so you've got enough.
Is it gonna look like a flower when it's grown?
It's gonna look like the flower.
So you don't see the flower for it. know what I'll do next time? I'll get the flower.
I think lay it down and you get the leaves and everything.
I'll do
And
next
you
time.
could have, yeah,
Yeah?
because there's a lot to do here, actually.
Yeah, these two I'll do.
And there's a lot to do with that too. This apple could be fuller looking. It's that it just doesn't come out, you see how it V's out? It gets full, it's top heavy, that apple, and I don't get that feeling. Yeah, I think, that's it, it's got a whip, good job. Yeah, there you go.
These holes look like streaks, they just don't.
Yeah, so I want you to think more, so it's sort of the way that you're using the pencil to, okay, so. So this is your, like don't you see this fold coming very close to them here, or am I just?
Yeah, I do see it coming.
It's like, that's what's so
To make it close.
interesting. Well, but it's not with the eraser, you can bring the light. I want you to bring the light. So what I see, this to me isn't reading.
I'm trying to make the shadow underneath.
So just to start with that, hang on. So, you know, I would be just thinking, oh, this has got a value, this has got a value, just so broad. And then you've got, like, I see everything like a pattern. I want you to see patterns. Like, I relate everything. Like, I want to see what this is over against this red apple, over against, there is a shape. Like, I don't, there's a shape to the apple, and then there's a shape that I'm seeing, a real shape that I'm seeing with a cat, and this is a little cat shadow still in here. And then there's a real light, and then there's a cat shadow here from the hair. So I want to get all this pattern happening here. It's so fun. And then you've got, and that's how you're, by these shapes, then you're going to find where this fold comes, which you were starting to draw. And that but it's light here. I would use your eraser, get the light, so that the pattern, I'm feeling this drama of the, it's not so much a line, it's the light of it. And then this fold is a soft shadow. And then I take the pencil and just do a shimmer like this, like a shape. But it's all this little transition here, so I'm gonna make it feel like material. So you're gonna just scoop at it, not like a line, but like a shape. It's a shape.
So could
So
you
you're
make
getting
use of lilac paper?
Middle
Just
tone.
use dark.
Then it goes back to the middle tone again. And then it goes back to another little shadow from this high fold.
Just have to buy
It's darker again. And then you go back to your middle tone, whatever that is.
I thought I had a
Right?
Hey,
So
that whole
those
black
patterns,
and
they're like connecting it all, and I'm traveling, and I'm saying, oh, I want.
And they were there. It was cute, you know. And if no one can help you do a collage using theirs that they did. But I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, look at your critical portraits. So why are you doing that? That's a challenge.
Yeah,
Good for you. Yay.
especially when I did the first one.
Nice.
I did a drawing
started here, right? And then I suggested to you.
Well, it's just cleaning the colors.
You're claiming the colors.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's not so different, yeah. Nothing so different.
And, you're just kind of getting used to this, the objects and the size and the choices of color. And I want you to take a picture and we're gonna recreate it as best as we can.
Only the grapes. For lunch.
Oh, yeah.
These are real things, I don't know how they,
How am I gonna?
well.
I mean, you know what, I'm going to, sometimes I say this still.
Well, it's made us get all googly.
We'll buy some more. People will eat, Gerard's got
The
more.
grapes.
They have these, well, they're tomatoes, right? They're
Yes.
nice tomatoes, and they have these,
Oh, yeah, we could,
and I could just get another set, if they're not.
just keep the box. I could see it.
Gerard's is
Keep
right,
the box. Girardi's is right down the street.
Gerard's right down the street, I'll just get some, I'll take a picture. Because we'll try set it up close to where we go, right? And I'm gonna put those plums in my fridge. I'm gonna save the
There'll
plums.
be fruits.
There'll be fruits by the time, but they've got plums. I can get you plums if they're struggling, okay? I'll get you your plums. And I'll take a picture too, so when I'll try set it up for you when, next week. Usually, yes. Oh, it's cool. I'm in real trouble here because even, all three are perishable.
Very,
Yes.
But there's lots of artificial. The onions or the peppers, they'll
Onions?
stay.
Yeah, I think the onions and the pepper and the lemon.
Oh, the lemons, sure,
The
those.
lemon's gonna be good. Got that in. I'm going to mark when you have them. You're gonna mark your table, so you got the same position.
Surely they'll be in different places next week.
At least, this is gonna be a challenge.
Yes.
Didn't make it easy to get after myself.
I'm gonna have all your
Still lives in my fridge. I have, labeled the different names.
Do not eat.
There's an awful lot will be by next week when I can set it up typically.
Fair enough.
But you're gonna have, you have your photograph, right? You taking your
Yes.
photograph?
The way you, the way you both set up the material is very challenging. It's not like, it's just straight on the table. I can't mark it. Over the
Just
orange.
all of the orange, yeah, because there is some orange in there too. Orange is everywhere. You could paint right on top of it, like here, just like what you did here.
I know.
Just keep it in here. Just keep on going. I just want you to get that curve, right? So let me get my pad. Oh, maybe I didn't bring my pad. Is that what I forgot? That's what I forgot. Shucks, I never remember everything. I bring all the wrong stuff. Here, I'll just use the piece of paper here.
I
Oh,
know.
I brought my pencils, but not my paper.
What do you need? I have, what kind of paper?
I just want to give you
Oh,
a demo,
yeah.
a little drawing of what, I want to give you a little drawing of what I want you to do. Yeah, like